New Grove Pharmacy have kindly sent me a Mighty to check out and to review. I've used one before a long time ago, but I haven't used a Mighty and actually put one through its paces yet. How does this come out? Is it a slide? It's a slide. Sticker on the bottom. Storz and Bickel quality seal. So we've got a Mighty Medic. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's anything different about the Medic range and the Mighty range. I've got information for the Mighty Plus, but I'm pretty certain this is just a Mighty. Yeah, it doesn't say Plus on it anywhere. Mighty Medic. And I think the Plus, well, it says Mighty Plus on it for a start, and has orange buttons, and these are just grey. Oh look, are these things for the screen? Techmoan, you watching? Oh yeah, take it off. What's that thing in the bottom? Is that your tool? Ah, that's the tool. Power cable. Oh, that turns on quick. Wow, that was well quick. Okay, what else is in the box? Ah, dosing capsules. Now, when I tried the Mighty before, I certainly didn't have any of those. And we have their usual grinder, which I don't really... I've never even been keen on the concept of these grinders, to be honest. I just don't like the idea of plastic, and I mean... Surely plastic shards are going to come off that over time. But it's nice that they include the grinder, and it's nice that it has a little compartment in there for storage. God, I don't like this plastic. You get your brush as well. Mighty cleaning brush. I quite like these brushes. You can buy them separately. I quite like them for cleaning out other vaporizers, to be honest, and they're quite good for cleaning out a grinder if you've got stuff stuck in there. So I've actually already got like 2 or 3 of these. They come in packs of 2, you see. Now, how do you get this open? Okay. Mighty and Crafty. Storz and Bickel dosing capsules. Actually, I might quite like these, you know. That's an acceptable amount. How easy and hard are the lids to get off? My hands are screaming already. That's fiddly. I can't stand it. Oi, oi, oi. That's not something I would be wanting to do on a regular basis. I'm assuming this is just going to be the power. Yeah, it's just the power cable. And in here we have some spare gauzes, O-rings. If anyone doesn't know, O-rings are the things that when you connect parts together, they seal the parts. They go in between 2 parts, and then you have rubber seals that stop the vapour from getting out. And these things, I assume, are some form of disposable sanitary mouthpiece. And actually, that's not a terrible idea. So I think that is that. That's what's known in the business as a fucking unboxing. And I feel disgusting that I've even done one. But there we go. That's what you get in the box with your Mighty. We got a hefty instruction book, but it's only that section that we need to worry about, so that's good. The Mighty Medic Vaporizer is suitable for use in all establishments, including domestic establishments and those directly connected to the public low voltage power supply network. Its RF emissions are very low. Troubleshooting, disassembly and cleaning. Do not immerse plastic parts in isopropyl alcohol for more than half an hour. Disassembly. Ah, you can fill the dosing capsules with the hole in the centre of the magazine. Maybe I should use the dosing capsules so we can all see that experience. Now, in most vapes, when you first turn them on, you have to do a burn off to clean off all the factory residue. So 210 is the highest temperature. Let's give it a little burn off and see what she says. So the dosing capsules, there's a hole in this lid here. If you do it that way, then it means you can push all the weed into the blip blip. That just got to temperature under a mighty blah blah. Okay, it doesn't smell too bad. Doesn't smell like it's off-gassing that much. Yeah, no, there's a rubbery smell coming out of that. So let's see about this then. If that's the lock, do you pull it back? Because there's a space there. There you go. So the lock gets pulled back, and then aha, there we go. So these blue bits, these are your O-rings. These are the bits that you get spares for. They will perish over time. They'll probably take quite a while to perish, but they'll get dirtier and dirtier. Oh. Ah, it started nagging me and then it turned itself off because I've not used it. The cooling unit, for me personally, I wonder if my lungs are going to cope with this because there's such a short air path. I certainly don't think my lungs are going to be able to cope with any high temps, but we'll see. But that is very easy to take apart. I thought that was going to be much more hassle. Much more hassle. And it does look fiddly, like it'll be fiddly to clean, but I guess that's why you need water and a brush. Mighty Medic has an expected operating life of 1,000 operating hours, approximately 5 years. The batteries have an average expected operating life of 500 hours, 2 years. That's pretty decent. For something that's not got, you know, user-changeable batteries, wouldn't even know where to begin getting this open. I'm going to look online for a teardown because I bet someone's done one. Herb mill. It's not a grinder, folks. It's a herb mill. Atmospheric pressure. So this won't work under some atmospheric pressure conditions. Take it down to the bottom of the ocean. It's not going to fucking work, is it? Too much atmospheric pressure. It tells you the use of hemp flowers, cannabis floss. It tells you reference values validated in studies show that 50% of hemp flowers cannabinoids are found in the aerosol produced by the Mighty Medic. When this aerosol is inhaled, approximately 65% of this amount enters the bloodstream through the pulmonary alveoli. The rest is exhaled. So it tells you approximately how much you use. 150 milligrams will give you approximately 28.5 milligrams of THC. 150 milligrams dosing capsule would give you, if the flower had 28.5 milligrams of THC, you'd be looking at inhaling 14 milligrams, okay, of THC, of cannabinoids. And then from that 14 grams, you'd have approximately 9.5 grams in your bloodstream. And there we go, that's that. We're done. This bit comes out as well. Rock it back and forth to get it to come out. Oh, there we go. And that's got a little O-ring on it as well. All stuff that can be cleaned. That only fits on the one way round. I thought this was going to be a hassle, but that feels way easier than I expected. Let's give a dosing capsule a burn off as well. Even though it's been cleaned, we'll give it a little burn off. The smell coming off it dry is a bit like, yeah, it's the smell you get from when a hairdryer's been on for a while. So that's just going to be the smell of the heating element. We'll let that burn off for a minute. This is well exciting. And then we have an instruction book as well, all about cannabis itself. CBDs, THC, different kinds of cannabis. A bit of a explanation of indica and sativa. Currently, about 120 different terpenes have been identified in the cannabis plant. Because of the large number of cannabinoids and terpenes in the cannabis plant, an individual interaction takes place for each type of cannabis. This can affect the mode of action. Did you hear that, Pierre? Because of the large number of cannabinoids and terpenes in the cannabis plant, an individual interaction takes place for each type of cannabis. This is, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about Pierre that runs Grow and thinks that terpenes are irrelevant because a doctor told him it once. Even though there's all this other wealth of information out there about terpenes being a very, very important aspect of food, fruits and vegetables, and flowers, the endocannabinoid system. So it tells you about administering cannabis, bacteria and molds. Therefore, only cannabis flowers from a controlled, standardized and tested cultivation are suitable for a medical application. Battery's full. Let's give it another burn off. The dosing capsules can be filled in advance by care staff, family members or the patient themselves. In this way, administration according to the prescription is facilitated for the patient. Oh, and also, for any of you fine Mighty users out there, at the end of the video, should we announce a little giveaway? We've got a Mighty t-shirt, only in medium I'm afraid. You can always give it to someone who's smaller than you or bigger than you. We've got some badges, a badges set, a blue S&B button set, Storz and Bickel lanyard, and some Storz and Bickel sunglasses. Just some of your basic everyday merch. I'll figure out how to give those away while I'm recording this video, I guess. So that's the Mighty, and that's the Tiny Mite. Tiny Mite 2, Mighty. And that's both set at 210. So you can see with the Tiny Mite 2, you're squeezing every last little bit out of your flour. I just got completely distracted by my own phrasing there. Yeah, so with the Tiny Mite 2, you're squeezing every last little bit out your flour duct. So this is why, if you're using a Mighty and you're not keeping your ABV, you're a fool to yourself. There's a whole bunch of active ingredients still left in here. You could be using this as a balm for your skin and muscles for pain and getting it into your body that way and hitting completely different CB receptors. You can reuse cannabis multiple times. If I run out of medication and I've kept all my ABV, I can still get medicated. If my hands start seizing up and wanting to claw up like they do regularly, I can use what I get out of this, the resulting coconut oil, as a moisturizer and balm, and it almost immediately starts to loosen up my hands. So for muscle cramps, for aches and pains, it's amazing, and it really, really helps with sleep as well. Helps regulate your nervous system, helps regulate your endocannabinoid system, helps regulate everything. So I have to use an awful lot of grinds because I use devices like the Flower Pot, like the Moab, like the Tiny Mite that will squeeze every last little bit out of the flour. The Mighty's not doing that. It's great as a medical inhalation device, it's fantastic. And because it doesn't go that far, it's way more difficult to setting it too high and getting into coughing fits and all that kind of stuff. The Mighty is good for temp stepping. It's good for starting low and then boosting up. And that's worthwhile doing, because if you start low, then you won't cough anywhere near as much. If you go straight into a higher temperature, you're going to cough. Start at a lower temperature, vape all that bit of the flour off, and then go up in Fahrenheit, I normally do 5 or 10 degree increments. Or with the Tiny Mite, I'd be going up, say, 1 step or half a step at a time. But one of the reasons I always start on 4, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive, I'm normally 3 and 4, and then I go up to 5 or 6. And I can get it to this colour at those lower temperatures by using inhale speed. 6 degrees on the Mighty is the equivalent of 0.5 step on the Tiny Mite 2. 12 degrees on the Mighty equals a full step, say between 3 and 4 on the Tiny Mite 2. So if you're temp stepping, it'd be good for me to start on 150. Let's do what I would do on the Tiny Mite. So I would start on 150 on the Mighty, and then temp step up 6 or 12 degrees at a time until we get up to 210. One of the things I like about these capsules, they do have good open airflow still, and they're rarely ever going to need any cleaning. So yeah, I can see this being a sod to clean at some point. It is a little bit fiddly. I mean, this is really convenient. That doesn't take that much effort, but I can see all this being a bit tedious to clean, to get properly in there and get it properly clean. Whereas, again, I'm not meaning to compare, but these are 2 portable devices that you could be using, and they are both inert in terms of materials and therefore very good medical inhalation devices. But yeah, that's all obviously all glass and another bit of metal that you're pulling through. So therefore, to clean it is just the easiest thing in the world. You just take that end mouthpiece off, dump your balls in some alcohol like we do most weekends. I don't drink. Just things fall out of my mouth. I have Tourette's and a bunch of other stuff, and bullshit just fucking happens constantly. Do you see what I mean? This is just bullshit. This is bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Yeah, you just dump all that into some isopropyl, and before you know it, clean as a bugger. Just give it a gentle shake and it's all clean. It's really simple to do, really easy. We're not talking about the Tiny Mite, you fuck. You're supposed to be talking about the Mighty. Fucking get back to it. This is fantastic, this thing. This is a hard one, because my preference is definitely the Tiny Mite 2. But the Tiny Mite 2 looks like a wanker's nicotine vape. I've been in the cinema once and had this out, and the guy was like, oh, you won't be able to use that in there. I didn't start the argument with him. I just meekly said, oh, I won't. Whereas these days, that's not going to happen, because that cinema now knows I've given them the discrimination pamphlet, so they now know. So yeah, this one just looks a bit more like a wanker's nicotine vape, so I think you're more likely to get comments and then have to explain. Whereas with the Mighty, it feels like if you've got dosing capsules with you, like, because it looks unusual as well, it feels like it's going to start more of a medical conversation quicker. It feels like, you know, you take the cap off and then you see, oh, these are the dosing capsules, and it's just got the right words to go with it when you're explaining it to make it sound like it's a bit more of a proper medical device, and the fact that it is a credited proper medical device. I mean, it means nothing in the eyes of the law, absolutely nothing, but as part of a conversation, you're not lying at all when you say this is a proper accredited medical device with the Mighty. I suppose with the Tiny Mite, you can get away with it by just saying, oh, devices like this are accredited. 150 apparently. That was as slow as inhale as I could do, so I'm not overpowering the heater, and there's barely any flavour there. 150 is equivalent being at 2.5, and at 2.5 I can definitely get visible vapour out of the Tiny Mite. Yeah, there's barely a wisp there. There's a bit of flavour, but barely any. Even at 150 though, there's still an effect there, there's still something going on. But yeah, that's, I guess the chamber at 150 isn't getting hot enough to release the vapour and the terpenes properly, whereas on the Tiny Mite, it's not the same. It's not the chamber that you're heating up. You're drawing air that's 150 degrees over the flour, through the flour. Whereas this, it's sitting in a chamber at 150 degrees. Bit more wispy vapour. You can heat soak it a little bit and let the vapour come off and build up. But then again, all you're doing then as well is recondensing that vapour somewhere else and producing more vapour until it's thick enough to inhale. But in all that process, you're recondensing a bunch of that vapour against the air path or wherever it's sitting. So let's go up to 156. Which is 3 on the Tiny Mite 2. A little bit more vapour, a little bit more flavour. I think going up 12 is probably a better idea. Okay, that's more the start of it. That's starting to give out a bit more proper vapour now. Yeah, that is definitely doing a bit better. That's a lot of work to get a result at this temperature though. Let's temp step again. You notice how I'm not coughing at all though. I'm still getting vapour, however slight. I'm still getting hits. This would still be effective as medicine, but I'm not coughing in the slightest. So this is 162 we were on, which is 3.5. So now, I'm not going to go straight up there, but let's go from 3.5 straight up to 5, which would be 180. So that heat soaks it up to 4 degrees over and then back down, loses 1 degree, which is what it did before, then heat soaks back up 3 degrees over, comes back down. Okay, so that started to get a little dry towards the end of that inhale, and again there wasn't a lot of vapour, there's a little bit more. The thing with this, we're doing this is, by the time we get up to 210, there shouldn't be any vapour there, really. So going faster, I don't seem to be able to overpower the heater. It seems to be staying solid at a 180. Let's see if it goes down at all through a fast inhale. Okay, so that took it down 5 degrees. I can feel the air coming in around here. But again, no irritation, no throat irritation, no lung irritation, there's a slight build-up of cough. That feels way more effective. That feels like it's done more. That feels like I'm getting a loads better experience. That makes way more sense. If you whack this thing up when you're using it straight away, you're going to go through the bowl so quickly and you're going to be missing out on a lot of terpene specific effects. You're not going to be pumping out as much clouds. But if you don't want to cough and you still want exactly the same effects and you don't care about visible vapour, temp stepping is definitely the way to go with the Mighty. If you want to conserve your medicine or get the most out of it, temp stepping. You're vaping off a load of stuff in between hits, completely missing it. And while it's heating up to 210 or something like that, it's vaping off all that goodness while it's reaching temperature. Slow, steady inhale, and it's quite difficult to overpower the heater. If you do a really fast inhale, you're overpowering the heater again, and you're not getting effects from that specific temperature. Now, all I've done all the way through this is have a slight cough, just a clearing my throat cough, and I'm going to end on 210. Probably at a point now where I could take it up to 210, and there'd be barely anything there, or it certainly wouldn't be irritating. But we'll do one more at 190. A little bit of whisper of visible vapour, much the same as every draw so far. Now up to 210. That's really heating up. Oh, yeah, not much vapour at all. And I am highly medicated now. And that's not just from the previous capsules I've done. I don't think that's just the accumulated effect. That's a marvellous, complete effect because I temp stepped through it. I'm getting the most out of this flower. Like I say, if you stick at low temps, you're not getting everything. And if you throw those grinds away, you're wasting it. I was wondering when this was going to happen. So I've gone down 1 bar and I've done 4 capsules now. This is the 4th, I think. Yeah, there's just wispy vapour and there was a little catch at the back of my throat at 210 on that last draw, but barely anything. And I would say that's that bowl done now. Only one way to find out, isn't there? Yeah, you see, in terms of Mighty, that's dead. The darkest it's going to get. In terms of Tiny Mite, there's probably a few more wispy hits in there, or maybe one decent hit in there. This needs temp stepping for me. I want all of the goodness out of that. I don't want to miss out on anything that's coming out of that flower. I want the vapour to be full of every bit of goodness that it could be, whether I temp step or not, whether my lungs are fucked that day or not, and they very often are fucked, so I can't hit high temps. Yeah, so I would feel like I need to temp step through this, or I know that I'm wasting meds, and that's quite important for me because I'm a skinflint. If I'm buying something, I want to get the most out of it that I can, and when it comes to the Mighty, that is definitely a question of temp stepping. If you hit those high temps straight away, or if you hit whatever temperature you want to go to straight away that gives you clouds, on the way up to that temperature, you're losing meds. If you then ditch those flowers, ditch those grinds, you're wasting meds massively, and you are a fool unto yourself. You could be getting a lot more out of your medication for your money. But it does hit differently. Conduction does hit differently. And I think the conversation around the Mighty is more of a conversation starter, I think, than just, oh, you put the flower in there, there's a heater in there, that's it, batteries in there, that's it. But maybe it's because I have a tendency to reduce things down to, there's all the information you need. That's what you need. That's all you need to know. There's all of it in those 3 sentences. Now go away and you can think about that. I've chosen the words carefully. Whereas this is way more of a conversation starter, and dosing capsules and this thing do make it more medical, I guess. So the differences between the Mighty and the Mighty Plus. Okay, so the Mighty has a metal filling chamber, whereas the Mighty Plus is ceramic coated. So that would actually add a bit more flavour. Ceramic is better than metal for flavour. Plus has USB-C, some sort of supercharging functions, 80% charge in 40 minutes. Heats up in approximately 60 seconds, that's value low. Actual heat up time may vary exactly. Seems about it really. So all you're getting with the Mighty Plus is a slightly more flavourful filling chamber, as they call it, because we shouldn't call it a bowl, because we're trying to get away from, you know, you dirty fucking stoners. You can get extra cooling, you can get a rattler cooler for it, which is a big old thing, which I'll drop in there, which makes the device look pretty stupid, I think. But I would imagine it's incredibly effective at cooling the vapour, so you can go straight up to those 210 attempts. But also there's these things, this little glass mouthpiece, which I think would make way more sense as a mouthpiece. You've still got plastic in the air path, but not as much, and that'll feel nicer on your mouth as well. You can also get a stainless steel cooling unit. That would make all the difference. That's so likely to make a massive difference to your experience using the Mighty. Don't recommend the concentrate pads. The Mighty I just don't think it's going to get up to temperature enough to be able to deal with concentrates. Just realised there's another test as well. So I've just put a whole bud in the dosing capsule to see how it reacts with a whole bud. So really, I should be heating this up first. Right, so now drop the capsule in, put the cooler on, see what we get. Oh, that's better. There we go. That has loads more flavour. Oh yeah, that was way more flavour. Because heat can't get through the whole of the material quite as quickly as if it was ground, that's definitely giving off more flavour. At 210. Definitely got that little bite on the back of the throat. I think beginners kind of deserve convection rather than conduction. This is way more fiddly than it needs to be. And although the Tiny Mic kind of maybe looks fiddlier in some way, it isn't. You set it, you can forget it, you can boost it, you can do all that stuff with it, and it's really simple. You don't need a screen, and it's convection, so you get more flavour, and it conserves your flour better, and also will rinse your flour better, if that's what you want, if you want to get absolutely everything out of it. Yeah, there's that tickle again, the back of the throat. It's because of the vapour building up in here and getting hot, and you're pulling that first through it that's still hot, and after that initial burst of heat, everything else is air that you're pulling in from outside that's getting heated up and going through the chamber and, you know, is giving off the vapour. But that initial burst at high temperatures, that's what gives you that initial... So if I'm at full speed, inhaling at full speed, I'm losing about 7 degrees off that. So it's definitely not one that you can use at whatever speed you like. My experience of the Tiny Mic is that you can't overpower the heater as fast as you like, and it's going to keep up with you and you're going to be gasping. But overall, it's much nicer to have the capsules preloaded with a whole bud, set the Mighty on, and once it's reached temperature, then drop the capsule in. Way more fiddly. There's way more having to pay attention. But that seems to be preserving flavour a bit better. I mean, there might actually still be a bit of flavour in there, to be honest, which is surprising. I didn't think that would be the case. Final bit of this little adventure. This is the full bud that I did by Temp Stepping that had no coughing and barely any vapour. So let's see what we've got left in that. So you can see, even though that was on 210 and that kind of stopped giving off vapour, there's definitely another hit or so in there if it were in the Tiny Mic. And I've just gone back to the Tiny Mic after a few hours of using the Mighty, and I'm down at just a tad over 4 on the Tiny Mic, and the flavour explosion that hit me immediately on the fresh bowl was quite noticeably, massively different than using the Mighty. The Mighty today has turned everything into the same homogeneous flavour. I think the Mighty's a great device. Certainly I'd be inclined to use it if I was going into hospital, if I was going on a train, if I was going on a plane. I'd be more inclined to take this just because it is certified medical device by some random arse company. But I'd only use it out of necessity, I think. The Tiny Mic does everything that the Mighty does, but gives you clouds and flavour at the same time. There's not that much difference in height when you add in this stem. There's obviously a definite difference in bulk. The Tiny Mic is nearly 100 quid more, I think. In terms of wanting to actually use it and get a good experience in medicating, it's the Tiny Mic all the way. The Mighty, you're going to get through so much more flour with the Mighty than you will with the Tiny Mic. So it was a noticeable difference between the two in terms of flavour, most definitely. So thumbs up for the Mighty with caveats. All those caveats that I've just given you. I asked Storz and Bickel, I told them that I was doing a review of the Mighty and asked if they would have anything that I could maybe wear or use in the review, and instead I thought I don't need more t-shirts, I certainly don't need Storz and Bickel lanyard, Storz and Bickel sunglasses and Storz and Bickel button set, or badges as we normally call them over here, they're yours as well. So to be in a chance with a win, to be in with a chance to win, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment letting me know if you've had any experience with Storz and Bickel products and what you think of them. In particular, what you think of the Mighty, and if you've got any tips and tricks with the Mighty. And everyone that's subscribed that leaves a comment underneath this video will be entered into the giveaway draw, which I'll do in a month's time. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed any of this, hit like. If you didn't enjoy it, hit dislike. Subscribe to be in with a chance to win. Subscribe to be notified of new videos that come out. I think we've got some quite exciting stuff coming to the channel. Certainly, if I can do any more vaporizer reviews, I will. Got a review of the Moab that's either just out by the time you're watching this or is about to come out. I suppose I should review my own Tiny Mite. And we have the 3K giveaway coming up. Yeah, thank you again for watching. None of these videos are anything without you people watching them. None of this information gets out to other patients without you people watching them, without you folks leaving likes or comments. And the more information we can get to patients about what their rights are, about what's available, about how medically accredited vaporizers work, about alternatives that there are out there that are genuine, really good alternatives. So if any of you could be kind enough to share any of these videos on social media, that would help the channel massively. I don't use any social media because it seriously destroys my brain. It sends me absolutely crazy. So if any of you could be kind enough, that will help the algorithm notice that people are watching and potentially share it to people, even though they ban everything to do with medical cannabis. Everyone, thanks again, and stay medicated.